Here's what we're talking about today on Daily Blast Live.
More of Hollywood is responding to Will Smith's slap at the Oscars.
I was sickened. I was sickened by the standing ovation.
Do you agree with Jim Carrey? Plus, should the Academy ban Will from attending future events? The Great Resignation continues as millions quit their jobs. How a leaked email from an Applebee's exec led to a mass exodus. Shark Tank's Barbara Corcoran will be here live. We find out who's the most competitive shark off screen. And Tom Cruise returns in Top Gun Maverick.
Just want to manage expectations.
What the hell? Good morning, aviators.
Are you insane? This is a sham. No. Y'all, just stop.
Finally here. Drum roll.
Welcome to DBL. Okay, so here we are again, right? We're going to talk about Will Smith once again because for days now, it's all anyone is talking about, including our viewers. We're reading your comments. So Will Smith slapping Chris Rock at the Oscars. Well, lots of people continue to speak out. We're hearing more from actors, from comedians. Amy Schumer, who co-hosted the event, says she is still triggered and traumatized and that she's waiting for this sickening feeling to just go away from what we all witnessed. Zoe Kravitz posted this. Here's a picture of my dress at the show where we are apparently assaulting people on stage now. Jim Carrey, a lot of you are talking about what he said, okay, because he slammed the A-list crowd who attended the event. Here's what he told Gayle King.
I was sickened. I was sickened by the standing ovation. I felt like Hollywood is just spineless, en masse. And it really felt like, oh, this is a really clear indication that we're not the cool club anymore. I'd announced this morning that I was suing Will for $200 million because that video is going to be there forever.
Well, there are several polls out there asking people what they think. One found a majority. 61% felt Will was more in the wrong, but another showed 52% felt that Chris Rock was more in the wrong. So DBL Nation, we always turn to you. We want to hear what you think. Who do you believe is more in the wrong, Chris Rock or Will Smith? Go to dblvote.com to weigh in. Al, as a comedian, as just a human being, who do you think's more in the wrong?
I don't think it's close. I think we saw a man be assaulted, and from a comics point of view, be assaulted when you feel the most vulnerable. We're not musicians where we have a backup band, lights, smoke when we come out of the stage. Musicians, this is like just giving comics props. You guys have a lot of, bells and whistles to distract. With comics, it's just you. Sometimes you're not even holding a mic, and you feel super vulnerable. You're talking about yourself. You're talking about super famous, powerful people in a funny way, in jest. And so you're really putting yourself out there. So to put yourself out there on the highest stage, at the highest moment, at the apex of your career, to be hit like that, in a world where it's not 89, where it happened, we're kind of talking about in a newspaper, this is going to show up on every meme.
In real time.
Real time, every time he goes to do it. Hey, I'm promoting such and such too.
He has a show tonight in Boston.
And he's got to address it. And so I agree with Jim Carrey. I said it on my girl, Cooper Lawrence's podcast. He needs to sue him. Like, no more fights for charity. This needs to be a punitive, I have suffered damages to my career. You need to make this right.
Yeah, I keep thinking about you, Al, because you travel every weekend, and it's like the vulnerability in terms of being like, hey, meet me here and watch me here. But also the idea that Chris Rock sales have gone up so much, but we don't know the reason why. Is it because people are trying to, make this worse for him, or people are trying to support him? And based on the poll numbers, that are coming out, we don't really know. I do want to say about what Jim Carrey said, the idea that Hollywood isn't the cool club anymore. I think this has been a long time coming. Not that we don't think Hollywood and celebrities are cool, but the idea of celebrity has changed because people's, favorite celebrity might be a TikTok star now, it might be a YouTube sensation. So the idea that this is what catalyzed people thinking differently about Hollywood, I would argue that when we really started to say that Hollywood has aided and abetted some super predatory behavior and we are going to call it out, that's when people started losing person credit.
So, Tori, really quickly, I just want to first address our poll. We got 81% of you saying Will Smith was the one in the wrong. Obviously, Tori, you're very familiar with the Comedy Store in Hollywood. They put up this sign in solidarity with Chris. Is it weird? I get that there's a lot of layers. Believe me, you can say Chris Rock told a joke in poor taste. Chris Rock told a joke in poor taste. But I feel like I'm in the twilight zone because I love Will Smith, but I check the people I love. So like if Mark did that to one of your comedy friends, whatever, at one of your comedy shows, I would immediately be like, you are so wrong. Whatever Al or his friends decide to do to you, it's on you. You should not have done that. You don't put your hands on other people. Why do we even have a poll?
Yeah, I have to start with saying this. Will Smith, hard stop, period, is in the wrong. You don't assault someone. He's right. A comic was doing his job on a hard night,
but not
and he got smacked. Agreed.
Thinks that.
Now, here's the thing. I was telling these guys before in my history class, my history teacher had someone come in and do something crazy, and we were all like, he yelled something, and my teacher said, write what you saw. So all of us wrote down exactly what he was wearing, what he said, and when we read it, not one person had the same thing to say. And he's like, this is how history is written. It is all from your viewpoints, literally where I'm sitting, but also what I saw and thought in my own mind. It has to do with black women, black men, protecting hair, alopecia,
but
diseases.
Of course, I don't want to take away from that.
Sure.
That is vital. That is important. Absolutely.
But you don't smack someone.
But there's got to be just like a
you don't
line
smack
in the sand.
Yeah.
I want to talk and hear from our viewers. Continue to vote on the poll. What you guys think is going to happen to Will Smith, right? According to the Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts and Sciences, they are going to hold an emergency meeting today. They're going to decide what actions to take, and a leaked letter from the Academy reportedly said leaders are upset and outraged. In fact, Whoopi Goldberg, who is a member of the Board of Governors, gave more clues. She said there are going to be big consequences because nobody is okay with what happened. That's her quote. Now, disciplinary actions could include anything from taking away Will's Oscar to suspension from the Academy. Will could also be banned from future Oscars. A decision could reportedly take weeks.
I don't know what the weeks is going to take. I mean, we saw, look, there has to be a line.
What do you think will happen?
I think they need to take his Oscar.
Why?
Absolutely.
I agree with that.
Okay, but there has to be a line or there are no rules.
What about Harvey Weinstein's Oscar?
What do you think,
I'm
Erica?
fine with taking that too. Yes. Why are we even talking about that? That should have happened yesterday. But Harvey Weinstein is a different kind of monster that I actually don't want to put in the box with Will Smith and Chris Rock. I feel like that was a personal thing that bubbled up on a wide open stage, a public stage. But Harvey Weinstein, do what you need to. But in this situation, if we allow an assault to take place and that's okay, then so we've made a rule. Inaction is also an action.
Okay, Erica, do you think his Oscar should be? I'm not saying no consequences. Do you think the Oscar should be taken away?
No.
Either do I.
I don't think so, because that's a body of work that is completely. I think the inability to compartmentalize is really where we're at this point. And it's also I keep saying it's personal to everyone. It's not just about these two people. It's personal to how we consumed it and how we're making this make sense in our minds.
But I bet you anything that he will not be presenting at next year's to Best Actress.
And that's fair.
And that's fair.
And
I'll put that out there.
Definitely fair. Let's see what our final vote is. 80% believe Will Smith is in the wrong. 20% believe Chris Rock is in the wrong. Thank you for letting us know what you think. Coming up on DBL, Bruce Willis is stepping away from acting. We're going to explain the reason why. And Barbara Corcoran from the Shark Tank, joins us live. What does she have to say about her fellow sharks? Plus, a leaked email from an Applebee's exec causes a mass exodus of employees. We'll tell you what the email said that caused all that. Coming up next.
Closed captioning provided by
Welcome back. More and more Americans are quitting their jobs in what is being called the Great Resignation. Now, last month, 4.4 million people said goodbye to their jobs. Recently, an Applebee's in Kansas lost the majority of its managers and 10 other employees after seeing an email sent to executives. It said that high gas prices and inflation was an opportunity to rebuild its workforce and pay employees lower wages. Applebee's corporate responded saying the email did not represent the company as a whole. They also fired that executive. Okay, what are we thinking, Erica?
Well, he just said the quiet things out loud. I mean, had he not said it and put it in such black and white writing where it could be traceable, I'm sure his style of work reflected that same sentiment. You know, here's the thing, for people who are deciding on their career paths, this is such a great opportunity for people to find opportunities out there that are going to be reflective of a situation that isn't toxic, a situation that they get to be the choosers. You know, everybody's always like, people are completely dispensable. Well, now check it out. So are jobs, and the working force has the ability to decide. So good on those 10 employees who walked out. You don't get to just treat people like that.
Yeah, it's odd to me. Like, are we that surprised? If we're not going to raise wages and inflation keeps going up and we don't raise expectations of how you treat people, what else are you going to do? Of course they're going to leave. As Erica just said, they're human beings. And we've seen people berate them, physically assault them. And the idea is there are other jobs out there. There is leverage. You can do a gig economy, and that's what's happening. This old school style is just not going to fly, and we're seeing it.
And I agree with you, but here's a little caveat here, and this surprised me because I agree with the two of you, and I feel like nobody's paying a living wage and treating people with the respect they should be given. Fox News just did a survey, and they found that 72% of people who did resign for those very reasons regretted it later.
Yeah, I mean,
how does that add up?
Well, I mean,
because they ran into the same situation?
Maybe. I mean, once you're dealing with the public, you're dealing with the public. But I think what is going to happen is people are going to pick and choose when they do. When you drive Uber, you're kind of in control.
It's your choice, right?
But when you work at Applebee's and you clearly have a manager that doesn't care how anybody talks to you, imagine somebody calling you out of your name and you tell your manager and your manager agrees with the customer. How long is that going to happen before you start firing up the old Uber app or whatever you need to do, making empanadas at your house and selling them? There are other ways to make money now. There are ways to contact people now, and people are doing their own thing because when you try and deal with the public, the things that I have seen, the things my co-host Jeff was talking about, seeing how people treat people that are at work is out of control, and I feel like we have lost that privilege. And I feel like we will start to see the workforce go away, and everything will be manual. You want a beer? Go up there and put your card under, and it'll pour you a beer. But we've lost our privileges to interact with each other because of how people are treated.
Well said. Coming up on DBL, you guys, Shark Tank's Barbara Corcoran will be here live.
Yes.
There she is. We cannot wait to talk with her next.
I happen to think you're going to sell a ton of these, but I have to make money right away.
Understand.
So I'll give you exactly what you asked, $100,000 for 33 1/3%, but I want a royalty of $2 for every sale, but the royalty goes away the minute I recoup my investment. Yes. And you'll have a non-naive partner, which you desperately need, because I've been used, abused, and I got over it by the time I was 30. So nobody will use or abuse you anymore.
Yes.
She is a boss. Welcome back. She started off with nothing, you guys. She turned a $1,000 loan into a multi-million-dollar real estate empire, and she's been swimming with the sharks, looking for bites of the next great American companies for 13 seasons. Please welcome Shark Tank star Barbara Corcoran.
Thank you.
Oh,
thank you.
We adore you. Before we get started, we were just talking about the Great Resignation. We got to hear your opinion on this. What do you think?
I think companies should be worried. More than half the people that are under 40 right now are thinking of changing their job in the next year. Think about that. How secure can companies be? You know what's happened? The pandemic made people focus on their lives more than they focused on their jobs. That's a second priority. And they want from their job a little respect. They want higher wages. They want more flexible hours, or they find another job. So in a weird way, I'm almost happy it's happening because I think the companies are going to respect people more. They're going to realize they're working for the workers, not the workers working for them, which is generally the paramount attitude, no matter which company you're working for. And companies today are going to start doing staying interviews instead of exit interviews that everybody's gotten so good at. Why did you leave? Why did you leave? But why did you leave? Wow. You know, when I was building my business, if somebody left me, I felt horrible. I felt like I got an F on my personal report card because it really was that way. It meant that I didn't take care of that person. I wasn't in touch with them. I didn't know what was going on, and they walked out my door. Shame on me. I deserve the F.
Wow.
So I think in the end, it's good. In a weird way, it's good.
Barbara, we need more of you. Power to the people.
Right?
Wow.
I love that mentality. And when people are being, treated a certain way, they have a tendency to produce more if they're being treated with respect and, loyalty. So love that. Well, we want to talk about Shark Tank because of your fellow sharks, I just want to know, who's the most competitive off-screen?
Off screen, you said? Oh, by far, Robert Herjavec. He's so competitive, particularly with Mark. He's like watching a little kid trying to measure up to his older brother. It's embarrassing. But to give you an example, I was on a GMA with Robert competing to sell bus tickets, a gimmick they dreamt up. Bus tickets to the crowd. They sent us out. And right before I went out the door, Robert looked at me and said, "Nice outfit, Barbara." And I said, "Oh, thank you, Robert." And he said, "I would have never picked out those shoes, however."
What?
I crawled out the door like, oh,
not the shoes.
He makes you feel this big. Oh, man. Well, Barbara,
yeah. Shame on me for falling for it, but it worked.
It did work. It's always the shoes. I follow you closely. I'm not a stalker, but I hope your shoulder surgery went well. I love that you live in a beach community. I put you up on my vision board.
Yikes. That's something a stalker would
say. A little
say.
stalkery. I'm sorry. Sorry, Barbara. She's a bicycle. She bicycles around. I love her life.
We're going to escort Tori out the building.
Blink twice if you're scared, Barbara.
Okay. So I have a question for you. You have a reputation that's really specific for not investing in rich kids. And I want you to have the floor and tell me why.
I didn't know I had the reputation, but if you're saying it, I'll back myself up. I think poor kids have a huge advantage in a couple of ways. First of all, they have nothing to lose and nowhere to go but up. They don't have parents on their back giving them pressure. They're not trying to measure up. That's a plus. They've usually had a lot of part-time jobs growing up to help out. They've lived with economic hardship. They've seen their parents struggle. They learned about struggle early. They're usually very hungry for the stuff that success brings rich people that they've never had before. Rich kids, on the other hand, have had the fancy vacations, are accustomed to being in an expensive car, and they live in a nice house. So for them to aspire aggressively towards something, it's a little bit harder. Rich kids, too, I think, are often saved from failing by their parents. And what parent doesn't do everything they can for the kid? It's normal. So if they're struggling with a subject, they get a tutor. If they can't get good SATs, they get a tutor to get into the good schools. And it's not cheating or anything. I don't have that feeling. I have rich kids because I started my family when I was 46, so I was already rich by the time they were born. But what you rob the rich kid of is the ability to practice at getting back up, getting hit and getting back up. And when you build a business, it's nothing more than a series of getting hit and getting back up. That's what makes you successful, getting the finish line. And so for those reasons, I'm biased toward investing in poor kids because I have a better chance of making a lot of money.
Smart.
Well, a lot of people like myself that want to learn about business and investing should listen to your podcast, Business as Usual. So really quickly, we have a hard out, business unusual, excuse me. So we have a hard out here, so I want to get this. What is the most sought after piece of advice that you're asked?
Starting a business, funding, and running a business. But you know what's behind it, Al? It's really about confidence, learning confidence, what my passion is, what motivation is. That's what I hear all the time beneath the questions.
That's it.
Insecurity.
888 Barbara hotline. If you have a question, Al, I'll wait for you on my phone, 888 Barbara. I'm going to wait for you to call in your question. I'm going to answer you.
I have a question. I'm going to send it to her.
I'm going to creep her out.
We all are. Barbara, thank you so much for chatting with us. You are incredible. Do not forget to catch the new season of Shark Tank on ABC. And please check out Barbara's podcast, and available on all podcast platforms, Business Unusual. Call 888-BARBARA. She'll answer your questions.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
We'll be right back. You better get calling.
Still stalking.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Welcome back. We're still talking about Barbara. Okay, Tori, so we all love her, but what is it about Barbara that you love?
She made a goal and a life, and that's the life I want to lead. She has a beach community. She rides her bike. She gets tomatoes from the farmer's market. She goes home, has a martini with her husband, and sits at the sunset.
What happens to the tomatoes?
She eats them later.
Tori, I love you. If you're leaving us, you can watch the second half of our show online. Watch on YouTube, dailyblastlive.com, or our app. But if you get the second half of the show where you are, here is what's ahead. We've got another look at the new top Gun movie, we will see the return of some of our favorite characters. Who are they? Plus, country singer Eric Church cancels a concert to attend a March Madness game. Is he crazy for doing this to his fans? We're going to talk about it all next.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Oh my gosh.
Are you insane? This is a sham.
No. Y'all just stop.
Finally here. Drum roll.
Good morning, aviators. This is your captain speaking.
And we're off. Here we go. In 3.
Welcome to DBL. Yes. Okay, so hold on to your helmets because we're getting another look at the upcoming Top Gun sequel, Maverick. Tom Cruise is back. This time as an instructor. Take a look.
We're going into combat on a level no living pilot's ever seen. Not even him.
You think up there you're dead. Believe me.
My dad believed in you. I'm not gonna make the same mistake.
Oh my gosh, you guys, that was Miles Teller as Goose's son. Rooster.
Are you feeling?
Yes, first of all, I love Miles Teller. I loved Goose, and now he gets to play Rooster. I'm really excited about this. Of course, Anthony Edwards was the original, and he died in the original. Okay, so I also want you guys to see that we have the return of Dun 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 Iceman. Wow. Yes.
What that is, I can't imagine.
Wait, I gotta really soak this in. Hold on. Where is Iceman?
Here he comes. There he is. There he is.
That's not him.
Yeah, it is.
No, but we don't get to see him in the flesh?
No, not yet. We don't know if there's a cameo or not. It's
All
a
right,
tease.
I was expecting him in the flesh, but that's okay. Obviously played by Val Kilmer. We only saw him in a portrait on a wall. Okay. But in real life, if you guys have seen Val, which is incredible, it's on Netflix, and you do see that he has been suffering from throat cancer. So I hope that we can see Val Kilmer make a comeback here. I have another surprise for you guys, but I'll save it. What do you guys think?
Pre-1980s, everyone was hammered. Oh, no, I'm not Al. I'm Jeff. I'm in for Al, so just in case. I want to acknowledge that first.
Hammer.
I love what Al says. That's his answer to everything.
Are you excited?
I'm very excited. I just watched the trailer. Me and Michael Dean, a producer, we were talking off camera, and I was like, kind of got the chills. I want to go. This is a type of movie you go to the theater for, right? I know Erica, maybe not excited, but it gives you, it's nostalgia.
I am so excited for y'all. I am. I'm so excited for y'all because I want y'all to have that type of excitement for me when the Best Man series comes out. Okay? So I'm feeling y'all like, yes, Iceman.
Get it.
Are you a Top Gun fan, and are you excited for this?
Hardcore, got deep into aviation, only wore aviators for like a good 4 years.
Bomber jacket?
Total bomber jacket, didn't really fit. Kelly McGillis fan. I gotta be honest, they're gonna do a volleyball scene, but
I wanted to surprise you with it. Did you see it
I
yet?
did. I'm so sorry.
You did?
Yes, I'm so sorry.
Can you talk about it, and then I'll do the reveal?
Okay, I'm just gonna Miles tell you something. It's a good new football scene. Can we take a look?
Yeah, let's look.
Huh?
Let's look.
Just me again. Oh, there he is.
Just a photo? But okay. First of all, he looks just like Goose.
He does.
So instead of it being a volleyball scene, we're going to see a football scene on the beach with Miles Teller shirtless.
I hope the song is the same.
Me too.
It's got to be. What was it? Was it Highway to the Danger Zone?
Playing with the boys.
It was?
Yeah. Wasn't it?
I just remember Highway to the Danger Zone.
That was when they're flying.
That's when they're flying.
There's no danger on the beach.
I thought it applied to every cute scene.
All right.
I'm excited. All right, so let's move on to some actually really sad and shocking news. Bruce Willis is stepping away from acting due to a health issue. His daughter, Rumor, announced it on Instagram that Bruce was recently diagnosed with aphasia, which is impacting his cognitive abilities. Now, in the post, his daughter said it was a challenging time, but said, "We are moving through as a strong family unit and wanted to bring his fans in because we know how much he means to you as you do to him." Oh my gosh. Tori, you've been very open and honest about your mom and just dealing with that. This is coming from the daughter.
Yeah.
You relate to this.
Totally relate. If you guys don't know aphasia, it is usually after an injury to the brain or a stroke. They aren't telling us what happened to Bruce Willis, but it affects the speaking or language part of your brain. So you can't come up with the right word. So sometimes it's gibberish, and sometimes it's like my mom will say, "Tori, pass me the fish the fish. And she'll know that's not the right word, but she can't Rolodex the right one to come to you. So I just want to be really clear. This doesn't make them any less smart. It's almost more frustrating because they know that that's not the right word, but they can't get it out. And I can't imagine acting being easy for Bruce Willis to do at that time. Aphasia affects people with dementia, with Alzheimer's.
Can it improve, be treated?
My mom does occupational therapy, and we do Sudoku with her with certain colors, and then we do word games. And we really try and keep words as part of it because it's harder to read, harder to write. So you want to keep that stimulation going for them. But it's not scary. It can feel weird because the person suddenly kind of feels like a different person. They're not speaking right. But it really is just a part of the neurons that aren't connecting anymore, and it's very sad and very frustrating.
It doesn't affect the physical ability?
No, not at all.
Just cognitive?
Yeah, just cognitive. And again, you're not less smart. You're just not getting that right word out.
Well, our thoughts and prayers go out to Bruce Willis's whole family. Hopefully it can be treated and he can return to acting.
Yes, hopefully.
All right, so country singer Eric Church is canceling a concert in Texas over a basketball game. In a statement posted on Ticketmaster, Eric told his fans, who calls themselves the Church Choir, that he's...
He in Top Gun?
I looked like him for a while.
He said he's canceling his upcoming show in San Antonio so he and his family can watch his North Carolina Tar Heels face off against Duke in the March Madness Final Four game. It's the first time the two rivals have ever met in the Final Four, so big stakes. He went on to say, quote, "This is also the most selfish thing I've ever asked the choir to do, to give up your Saturday night plans with us so that I can have this moment with my family and the sports community." What do you think?
I do want to preface some things, right? Coach K, who's the head coach for Duke, maybe the best coach in college history, right? You're seeing a legend of the game maybe coach his last basketball game, right?
Really?
So there's bigger stakes at this. North Carolina, Duke, huge rivalries. This is the first time they're ever playing in the Final Four.
That's crazy.
There's bigger stakes on here than just a basketball game, right? So that being said, I was kind of not on Church's side. I wasn't part of the Church Choir on this one, right? I was a little like, listen, if I plan to fly there, Ticketmaster is reimbursing, but now my plans are ruined, right? Because you want to go watch a basketball game. I get the stakes of the basketball game, but Erica kind of talked me out of it.
Erica,
yeah, she talked me out of it.
He said it's the most selfish decision that he's made regarding the Church Choir, and we're allowed to make selfish decisions. I think a lot of us are making more selfish decisions, especially after coming out of the pandemic, where we're putting memories that we can never get back with the people that we love ahead of work. And at the end of the day, this is his job, it's his career, and he's asking for a little bit of grace. Now, some Church Choir members aren't going to give said grace. Some Church Choir members are going to be singing to the choir.
Hallelujah.
Yes. So, but this is where we're at. We know, we realize that time is short and we have to make decisions. This is a calculated risk for him, but I commend him for doing this.
See what I mean?
Yeah, really good. One word, priorities. She's convinced everyone.
When she said memories, I just thought of like my family and building memories, and I was like, sold.
Yeah.
Coming up on DBL, Jeff takes us along, you guys. I cannot wait to his own movie premiere. We've got to look at his big red carpet moment coming up next.
Closed captioning provided by
How long is this going to take?
Well, it depends on you, what you do and how you do it.
We'll get this over with faster if we work together.
That's not my problem. I'm gonna find this thing first.
Oh my gosh, you guys, you can add movie star to our very own Jeff Schroeder's resume. That was a clip from his new movie, The Greatest Inheritance, which debuted, by the way, on Apple TV last week. We sent cameras with him as he hit the red carpet for the premiere. But before we talk to him, let's take a look at the whole experience.
What's up, guys? I'm at the premiere of The Greatest Inheritance here in Columbus, Georgia. Some of the stars from the show are actually arriving right now. There's a red carpet inside. It's called a step and repeat if you're in the business. I just found that out myself. We're going to talk to some of the stars that are showing up to the Columbus premiere. So let's go inside and find out who showed up. Cameron, how was it filming a movie, well, with me?
You felt like an older brother from day one.
It kind of did feel like that. We kind of like had a family thing going on like we do at DBL.
Jeff always knew his lines. He was very good about that.
I was really...
He was often a one-take wonder. It was quite impressive.
Wow. Did you have any drinks yet tonight?
I mean, maybe a little bit.
So we both know Tori Shulman, oddly enough, who is a host on Daily Blast Live, and you know her.
Oh, I know her and I love her so much. We met on a night where we both bombed I mean, in a way you just don't recover from.
She mentions this story, and I think she mentioned it on air.
Oh, oh, good, great. Good. Maybe no wonder my career is taking so long.
Well, listen, you had to go up from there. I'm doing a little butt kissing here because you've been doing some fantastic things, my man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You shot with Ethan Hawke?
Yeah.
You were in The Walking Dead?
Yes, sir.
Do you see any future roles for me? You know, just asking for a friend.
Of course, of course.
Are they already in there?
They're already in there. I'm always thinking, Jeff.
And then you're specifically thinking, I think Jeff could do this.
How could we write this for Jeff? Yeah.
See that? What do you want people to take away from this movie, Meredith?
Well, I think it's about how important your family really is. And I want people to pick up the phone and call their mama or call their brother.
I'm going to call my mom right after this. All right, guys, that wraps up the red carpet. I hope you had fun. I know I did. Now it's time to go watch the premiere of The Greatest Inheritance. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed and hope I just did a decent job. I hope you like it. I sure did. I sure did.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
You really, when we watch you, it's like, I feel like I'm watching a star. Like, it's here, I feel like you're
Not so
Jeff.
much.
No, I just feel like you're Jeff, my brother. But when you see you in the trailer and everything, like, man, Jeff, you've made it.
No, listen, when you start off with movie star, nobody's a movie star here, right? But listen, I'm so happy I went to that premiere, right? To see everybody again, to be back in Columbus, Georgia, we filmed that. We filmed that at the National Infantry Museum. That's where the premiere was. And not to get off the movie, but when you walk around there and you see the soldiers and the history of our country, and it's a great, fantastic museum if you're ever around that area, it really puts things in perspective.
Right.
Like, I'm here for a movie premiere. I'm hosting my own movie premiere for Daily Blast Live. Oh, I'm kind of a big shot. You walk around there and you're like, I'm insignificant for what these people have done for our country. So I'm just proud to be part of this movie. I'm glad I went back and saw it, and seeing everybody like I did again and watching their star rise
and
was
yours too, buddy.
fantastic.
I hate to say it, but you were very good on the red carpet.
Yeah,
too. You were.
I love that.
You were winning.
I'd much rather talk red carpet than who's in the Olympics. You know what I mean.
The fact that you present yourself as an ordinary person just doing extraordinary things just speaks to your humbleness.
All right, we're done with this now.
Okay,
we're done with
More
Congrats.
Jeff in the
Done.
break.
Right back.
Me and Tori.
Done. Done.
It's a disease that festers and builds for decades before it takes you. We're talking about Alzheimer's, a disease Greg O'Brien is fighting right now. Before we chat with Greg about why he is sharing his story, here is a look at his journey.
My life before Alzheimer's was so much different. I was a jock, a scholar, a top investigative reporter. Watching my mom and dad, I saw the symptoms in myself. I have what the doctors call cognitive reserve. I'll never forget sitting in the neurologist's office. I grabbed my wife's hand, and the first thing I said is, what about the kids? Because this monster of disease could take them out. They have a 50% chance. Was I didn't care about myself. You never know when the demon is going to attack. Sometimes you can feel it coming on. And it's like being out on the water and looking in the distance and seeing a fog roll in, and you're racing to get back to the marina. Right now, 60% of my short-term memory can be gone in 60 seconds. When I realized this was a huge problem, I had pulled up to an intersection on Cape Cod, and I saw this red hexagonal sign with white bordering. My brain said, go through it. It was a freaking stop sign in a busy intersection. I could have another 15 years in this journey. There were twice, which I've written about, where I tried to take my life, and I'm not proud of that. And I'm not gonna do that again. So you put your big boy pants on, your big girl pants on, and you walk it out.
Wow. Woo. Please welcome to the show, Greg O'Brien. Yes, thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
Wow. Greg, listen, I think all of our viewers watching, most of us, we know someone that has suffered from Alzheimer's. So for you to share your story, it's more than important. To help us understand Alzheimer's a little bit more, what are some of the most common things that you specifically struggle to remember on a daily basis?
Well, first of all, at this point now, 60% of my short-term memory can be gone in 30 seconds. It's just gone. If you put me in a room where I've known people all my life, and I didn't expect to see them. I won't know who they are. And as a journalist, you kind of learn, and I don't want to say it's a blessing about my journalistic training, but how to maneuver through it. So if I'm in a large room and going in, I could see there are people there that I think I know, but I don't. I'll look for the exit, and I'll walk around and shake hands, look people in the eye and say, how you doing? And then walk out the door. And I'll be by myself for an hour and a half, 2 hours. And everyone said, oh, I saw Greg. He sounded good. He looks good. And often that has nothing to do with the disease. It's a very lonely, frightening disease. I often see things that aren't there. I get lost in familiar places. There's tremendous rage, but you have to fight, you know? And the great Bugs Bunny once said, but actually he was paraphrasing someone else, don't take life too seriously because nobody gets out alive. And my book and the film is about walking through disease and faith, hope, and humor. And I was so sad to hear about Bruce Willis and his aphasia. He's a great actor, and a lot of us go through that in this disease. There are times when I can't think of the word, maybe like Bruce, and so I play charades with Google. So, and you know, you kind of type in something that is close, and all these links come down, and I might spend 20 minutes trying to find a word, but it's encouraging when you do. It sucks. My grandfather had died of Alzheimer's, my mother, my father, and paternal uncle. So
Alzheimer's, yeah, it ran in my family as well. My mom has had strokes and is dealing with that too. We play lots of body language games too. She likes smells and music to help her remember. So certain musical tones will remember. What helps you to remember? Is it writing? Talk to me about that.
Well, what I do is, and I'm doing this interview on my laptop, which is my portable brain. And my journalism training, I've been a journalist all my adult life. Well, maybe I'm not an adult yet, but I've been but I write everything down. And when I realized what was happening and got a diagnosis, I started writing all the things I thought I would forget, came up with probably about 2,000 words, from which it took me a couple of years to write on Pluto. And so with me, the confidence is in the moment, writing stuff down, and I journal all the time. You'll generally never see me without my laptop.
Smart.
But you have to fight. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I also have advancing prostate cancer, and my body's breaking down, and I've lost recently probably 30% of my sight. But you know, you just you move forward, and we're in the baby boom. I just turned 72, and we're in the baby boom generation, and a lot of us are trying to do some good things on the way out.
Wow. Greg, you know, one thing other than your story, and we thank you for your transparency, because there's definitely folks at home who need to hear from you today, but also the ability that you find humor. Your wit stands out to us. So how do you find the humor?
Well, it's the Irish in me. And you know, so Brian, we have 48, I'm told, branches of the family tree, and 47 go directly back to Ireland. Wow. So I have that in my genes, but I've always been that way, to make fun of myself and to get people to laugh, because I don't want anyone who's watching, I don't want the pity. Because
Greg, we're out of time, and I want to make sure that I can get this information to our viewers. To follow Greg on his journey, you have to watch his documentary, Have You Heard About Greg? It premieres in theaters nationwide on May 6th. You can also visit his website on pluto.org or buy his book. Greg, you are so brave. Thank you so much. We wish you all of our best, and we hope we can continue our conversation at a later date. Thank you so much, Greg.
Thank you, Greg.
God bless you.
God bless you.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
We're all just in awe of Greg. And to your point earlier, Jeff, like, yes, you're at a movie, you're doing everything you love, but it puts things in perspective.
Absolutely. Being around those soldiers, talking to Greg, you got to keep one foot on the ground, but keep reaching for the stars at the same time.
Well said. Again, you can watch Greg's movie on May 6th in theaters. DBL's new every day. We'll see you tomorrow.